Hello and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This midweek episode we'll be going over the forums once again, and we'll be looking at this one that I've picked out. It's more to do with retail WoW, as we have been lacking somewhat, and with the announcement of 10.2 on the way on the 7th of November, it's good that we start actually picking that back up. So this one is a very simple forum post, and it is essentially overall impact of add-ons in Arena. I have always used a minimal amount of add-ons because I'm just lazy more than anything, and don't really obsess over every little advantage in order to win in Arena, although I understand why top-end players do it. I'm wondering if someone can give a percentage or estimate of how impactful add-ons are towards your success in an Arena. I use Omnibar and S Arena, but when I play or watch Mezz play, who is a AWC Liquid player, it feels like he's playing an entirely different game with cheat codes enabled. I know he's a lot better player than me, and without add-ons, but it is safe to assume that the add-ons, especially his weak auras, provide too much information to the player. If I'm wrong, then by all means tell me why. I just feel it's better that we're all on equal footing, but the removal of add-ons seems too extreme as players have used them for over a decade. Now, this is actually quite a well-constructed forum post, I do have to say. Now, firstly, I do want to point out that we are all technically on the same footing. We all technically are. The only thing that is different is it's not the base Blizzard UI footing. So if you want to be on the same footing, you have access to all of these add-ons as usual. S Arena, Omnibar, weak auras, absolutely everything, big debuffs, etc., etc. But you have to download them and then set them up yourself, etc. Now, I would say, for the first point, like an estimate or a percentage of how impactful it is, it very much depends on the player. Now, I play with a couple of people who, one uses a fair amount of add-ons, one who uses less, and I use probably the minimal. The person who uses the most feels like they need the most because they feel like they need all of the information, whereas the person who's a bit lower, doesn't use as many, can gather information from just seeing the arena, the battlefield itself, and having weak auras help out with that is also very good. And then myself, I use not as many because I like to take in everything, and I've been playing this for a lot longer than the other two that I play with. So I go off of sound cues from spells, etc. So if I hear a hodge in the background, I'll register it and be like, okay, this person's hodged. That kind of thing. So everyone's on the same foot or the same level in terms of how much you can use, but you have to cater it to how you play. Plus, it is a bit more effort. I do have to say that. Now, with this being said, add-ons like the amount that Mezz has, he makes his own weak auras. He really does make his own weak auras. His entire thing is making weak auras when he's not in an arena. And literally loads of people use his weak aura package essentially to play arena games. Now, he has some extra stuff, like when he crits, it makes a big boom noise and stuff like that. That's nothing that's going to impact your game. It just feels like you're doing more damage with it, essentially. Plus, it's very satisfying when you do land a crit or something. It will make a really big sort of noise. It is quite satisfying. Now, I do understand that it does feel a bit shitty having to use all of these add-ons in an arena to get a better advantage. Now, I think it's better for the player base. As a viewing player, I think it's better for the player base because it's a lot cleaner in terms of the gameplay. You don't have to think as much about the actual gameplay. People can just work on their damage rotations and their setups. This is what allows setup comps to be a lot more impactful. Such as RMP, etc., because you can track the diminishing returns on all of your CC, whereas the base UI, like Blizzard Arena frames, do not do that. At least I still don't think they do. So, it's instead of counting that in your head and having sort of 1% of your brain power go to that, you can use 1% of your brain power going into, okay, this is our next kill target instead. That kind of deal. So it's a lot cleaner from a viewing point of view when you watch AWC and stuff like that. But in terms of like a gameplay perspective, I think it would be good, but this is my opinion. I think it would be good if they tried to remove all add-ons from arenas. I would be very intrigued to see who would drop and who would stay at the same level. If they get better, if they get worse. I think everyone will get worse in terms of like the ladder as a whole would go down and deflate, but I think Blizzard could inflate the like rating because of this. I feel like myself, I would be a bit better, or I would be on a bit more of a even playing field because my sort of gameplay revolves around having that multiple years of game like sense and like the noise cues and stuff like that. So I would probably thrive a bit more where people would be a bit more hindered. So I would be all up for it, but people who get into the game like the past few years don't have that experience. So this is a way of catching them up almost and, making up for that lost experience, which I do understand is a good idea because you don't want to be competing with someone who's been playing this game for 15 years when you've been playing it for 3. Like, with no add-ons, that 15 years player most likely has an upper hand against the person who's only been playing for 3 years. So I do understand why weak auras are there. Or not just weak auras, but add-ons, because it gives them a way to sort of even the playing field. And again, everyone is on the same even playing field with the add-ons that you are able to download, because none of them are restricted by any means. You just have to sort them out. You have to very much cater them to your needs, essentially, is what you should do with the add-ons. And I think that, in terms of newer players, it's a bit more friendly to use these add-ons to get into PvP, to get into Mythic Plus, because if you walk in there with a bare basic Blizzard UI and you're a rogue or something and you just try and like cheap shot off cooldown, not off cooldown, but like every time you see the button, you're going to be wondering, why are they immune? Like, why are they immune to my cheap shots all of a sudden? Because the basic Blizzard UI doesn't show that they're immune to the stun diminishing return. It really doesn't. So you've got to wait that 20 seconds until that diminishing return falls off, and then you can re-stun them. And for newer players, that might just be a concept that they have to learn. Whereas they can play one game and see that on S Arena, they've got this cheap shot symbol that says like 1/2. That means that they're half DR'd, and they can learn from that. So it means that people can get into endgame content a lot easier, I'm afraid, with these add-ons. But I do think that it would be kind of intriguing to see people play without these add-ons. But like this person said in the forum, I think it is way too overdue for that. I would like to see some sort of cleanup with it. I would like to see Blizzard add more stuff to the UI in order to reduce the amount of add-ons that are needed. I do like the introduction of the arena frames, but again, the arena frames are not used because it doesn't give you any information. If you look at S Arena or Gladius EX, like, they give you information on the diminishing returns, they give you information on everything. The arena frames just give you their health, and it's not what you want. You can see their health when you're like targeting them or like have their nameplates up, but you need more information than that. You need the diminishing return stuff. You need multiple things like their trinkets, their racials on there. You need so many more things, and I think it's a step in the right direction, but there's a lot needed in order to improve the Blizzard UI for arenas as it stands, to be honest. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Do check out all the socials down below: Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, constant stuff happening over there. We will be live just after this episode goes out. We'll be live at 8 CEST over on Twitch, so please check it out if you are wanting to. But thank you all very much for listening, and go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.